Good morning. You know, the subtitle of my talk, when I originally submitted it, was Harnessing the Will of Affected Populations to Improve Disaster Recovery. And as I was thinking through my talk earlier, really, it's simpler than that. It can be catchier than that. This is about getting America back to its roots. This is about getting America back to an age when neighbors helped neighbors. Let me get you for a moment to put yourself in a scenario. Close your eyes and think about a disaster striking your community. Think about coming out of a storm shelter or coming out of your home and realizing that you're okay. Your family's okay. Your home is still standing, and seemingly you escaped unscathed. But you look all around and you see that your neighbors are affected. They're impacted. What do? Do you help? You probably have this urge, this desire to go and help your family, or your neighbors rather, in their greatest time of need. But maybe then you ask your question, how? Let me redirect for a moment. Remember this? I would hope so. 12 and a half months ago, this is what you as New Yorkers lived through. This is a photo from Hurricane Sandy that my organization, Team Rubicon, took in the far Rockaways. What did you do when Hurricane Sandy hit? What did you want to do? Maybe you were one of the tens of thousands of New Yorkers that answered the call to help their neighbors in need. Maybe you found yourself in a parking lot, much like this parking lot, looking around, seeing disorganization, seeing chaos, wondering where it was that you could pitch in, wondering why this wasn't more streamlined, why this opportunity wasn't more affected. Maybe you were one of the tens of thousands that went out with one of these organizations, a church, a mosque, a synagogue, a Boy Scout troop, perhaps your school class, or maybe even your company. Maybe you're an employee at Google and you went out on a bus with dozens of your employees, your fellow employees, and you tried to help. You were a volunteer and you thought to yourself, this word volunteer, that's a noble word. That's really what this is all about. But then maybe, just maybe, you realize that that word doesn't have as good of a connotation in disaster response. You see, in the disaster response community, in the disaster response world, the powers that be, they think of the word volunteer as a four-letter word. Now, trying to stave off any Marine Sergeant jokes, I do realize that this is a 9-letter word, but understand that the fire departments, FEMA, these other organizations that are truly managing disaster response and disaster recovery, the true professionals, they don't like to see volunteers out there in these initial stages. Well, why is that? Why is it that we as a country, as these institutions, would try to keep these volunteers out of the situation? Well, the truth is that these volunteers bring with them a lot of challenges. They can congest roads, they can suck up resources. Many of them don't have the training to do the types of jobs that they're looking to do. For instance, after Hurricane Sandy, many of the work that needed to be done, many of the work orders that needed to be done was helping to clear out homes of these waterlogged drywall and 2x4s and carpets and books and all these things that would be in the basements of these homes in the Rockaways. And that's a very technical thing to do. There's backbreaking labor, but there's a standard by which it must be met. And if that standard isn't met, then somebody has to go in and clean up that mess afterward. Imagine being a project manager here at Google, and you're tasked with creating in Google Labs the next great product. And you have this hotshot team of engineers that are working on this product for you. And then some well-meaning employees from a different department decide that they're going to put together the product and they're going to launch it before you, and it's just not quite up to par. Now imagine that in disaster response. But what we know is that your participation as volunteers is inevitable. You're going to go out, and you're going to go out because you have passion. Or maybe perhaps the word should be compassion. So we have passion. How do we turn that passion into impact? How do we focus this goodwill of these affected communities, and how do we narrowly bring it together to have true and meaningful impact? Truthfully, what we need is good leadership. We need people who are willing to take on the onerous task of managing and leading these volunteers in these situations. But I guess the question is, where can we find good leaders? Well, here's where we find good leaders. Former non-commissioned officers. We have over 2 million veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, repopulating every single community across this country. men and women who led people overseas in some of the worst situations imaginable. Men and women who were in charge of 12 individuals day in and day out, responsible for their food, their water, responsible for mission accomplishment. Okay, so now what? Well, now we have to watch what happens. The first thing that people want to know is, well, what's the concrete impact of volunteers? Well, FEMA measures unskilled labor at $21 per volunteer per hour. That adds up. We had tens of thousands of volunteer hours at Team Rubicon after Hurricane Sandy. And the work orders that we were completing on these individual homes were amounting to about $3,500 a piece. And at the end of the day, we had almost $3.5 million of direct impact back into these communities. That's real, that's tangible. But perhaps what's more important is the abstract. If we can effectively harness the goodwill of these communities, if we can provide the leadership that these military veterans all across the country are able and willing to provide, we can get America back to its roots. We can get back to the point in time when neighbors helped neighbors, when we didn't rely on governments and corporations to come in and save the day. We could get back to the point when the people from one side of the railroad tracks crossed over to the other side of the railroad tracks and helped rebuild the barn after a devastating fire. And at a point in time where we are right now in America, that's what we desperately need. Thank you for the opportunity today.